Hey guys, what's up? I apologize I haven't made a video in a while because I was gonna make a Assassin's Creed Combat ranking video after I was done with my other thing, and I'm probably still gonna do that, but I'm gonna do this first since it's a lot less work. That you know, ranking videos are strenuous with all the thinking and planning that has to go into it and all that, and I just don't really want to deal with it with school starting back up in a week. Like again, I'll still do it, but it might not be here for a while. Um, so I just finished Far Cry 6. And it's okay. I don't really have anything to compare it to because I didn't play the other Far Cry games. This is my first one. Surprising as it may be, Assassin's Creed is really the only Ubisoft title that I've really put a whole lot of time into. With that said, you can definitely tell it's a Ubisoft game because all the characters are goofy and funny in a dumb way. It's super not skill based. It's super level based. There's RPG elements. There's a huge open world. It's bloated. It's all that. So there's definitely some negatives, um, like what I just said. The gameplay in itself I thought was decent. Like you got the sniper rifle. Like I tried to do mostly stealth because I sucked at the combat. Like I thought the sniper rifle was good. Like the way they operate stealth in and of itself was fine. Like I thought the foundation of it was solid. It's just not didn't have a whole lot of depth. Like yeah, you had gadgets, like you had like stealth tools, but like the smoke grenade I was really excited to use, but it doesn't really work that well because the smoke stays up for like a second and then dissipates. So like a lot of times it actually fucks you over and you don't actually get to do the thing you want to. So with that, it's a little annoying. The other issue with the stealth is that the detection system is broken. I've gotten spotted like instantaneously from halfway across the map, and I've also had a soldier that looked directly at me from 5 feet away and not see me. So the stealth is fun, but it's pretty broken. I don't know why they didn't just use the same stealth system that they did in some of the. Well, I think Valhalla was the last one that came out before they released this game, and don't use the stealth system from Valhalla. That was egregious. The point being, they should have picked a better detection system because the one they chose is not very good. Um, with that said, I do think the elements itself is fine. I like that you could do machete takedowns from behind, that you don't literally have to shoot everyone. I like that they give you throwing knives, and especially if you have the dark tech gear, those throwing knives are actually fucking homing missiles if you throw them at people, which I think is pretty cool. I thought the gadgets in and of themselves were good too. Like I liked the throwing knife method. I liked the smoke bombs. I liked the gas grenades. I wish they were a little more effective, but I liked them. And the grenades themselves were extremely useful as well. I like how much customization there is with the Supremos, that you can put different gadgets on them. They have different abilities. There's different versions of them. I thought that was a really cool aspect. I also really like the gear system. That like I obviously like that there was stealth gear, but I had a loud loadout and a quiet loadout. I used the quiet loadout more often, obviously, since I'm better at doing stealth than I was at the combat. So I did all the dark tech gear and then the prisoner scarf to enhance my ability to take downs from the front because that's super useful. Didn't really invest too much in my loud loadout just because I didn't really care about it that much. Like obviously I have good stuff for it, but it's not like amazing. Um, the story I should probably cover. It could have been really good, but it wasn't. I understand that a lot of people don't like that the Far Cry games recently are just taking out some bitch ass dictator, which I get. It could get old after a while, but since this is the first Far Cry game I played, I didn't really mind it because it's literally the first time that I'm experiencing that. So I didn't mind the whole taking down a dictator aspect of it. It's just that the way it was executed wasn't the best. I thought Anton Castillo as an antagonist was really good as a concept. I thought he was a very good character. He looked just like fucking Gus from Breaking Bad, which I thought was awesome. His son had a very interesting arc until they fucking shot him in the heart right at the end, which that contradicts his character, but whatever. I thought that the story could have been really good. It had a very good premise. I thought, Danny's the lucky one. He's or she, you could be either. Are becoming a Guardia to take down the dictator. I thought it was a really cool premise, but there's a few issues with it. One, the fact that you get the option to play as a male or female character. I've mentioned this in other videos, but they should give me one or the other. I shouldn't get the option to pick because when you give me the option to pick, that means you have to make the character androgynous. And as much as the media may want you to think otherwise, men and women act differently. They do different things. They have different mannerisms, and there are niches and there are kinks. quirks, fuck, quirks that are exclusive to one or the other. So when you make it so that you could be either, it does drag down their characters a bit. So it would have been nice if they picked one or the other so that they had a more in-depth character, because Danny as a character is pretty surface level just because they gave you a choice. If they didn't give us a choice, they could have made the character more deep, and I may have resonated with the character more. With that said, I don't think Danny's character arc is bad. It's just pretty surface level because they couldn't do much with it, making it having to be androgynous. The other issue with the story is a thing that's present in a lot of Ubisoft games these days, which is tonal inconsistency. That the game just throws around tones as it feels like it. It might be really funny and not take itself seriously at one point, and then in the next game it might have a character die and want you to actually care. And that's bad. It's fine if you have characters that try and act funny, but if you have characters just act as a running joke throughout the whole game, like many of them do, it makes them seem two-dimensional, and they are. This game is filled with two-dimensional characters, and they're two-dimensional because the game makes them two-dimensional, because they don't have any arcs, because of the fact that they're just jokes. Bicho could have been a really cool character, but we got like 2 seconds of character development with him, and that was it. Same thing with El Tigre. He was funny, and they could have gone farther with it. They could have explored his character more, but instead they just killed him off. And I think that's a common problem with a lot of Ubisoft games these days. And it's present in this one too, that they don't develop characters. They make them jokes. They don't make them likable. They don't make them important. They don't make you want to care about these characters, and yet they still expect you to care when they add an emotional scene that kills those characters off. They want us to feel something when El Tigre dies, despite the fact that we have no reason to give a fuck about. They don't understand why the Assassin's Creed games did this well in the past, like with Ezio, because we got character development and exploration before we killed those characters. When you have a scene that's meant to be deep and emotional, it doesn't do anything if the characters that you're tethering those scenes to don't have any development or growth. I came off as overly convoluted. Let me try and explain it. In order for emotional scenes to work, the characters involved in them need to be characters that we're meant to care about. They need to have depth, they need to have meaning, and they need to have layers. Characters in Far Cry 6 don't have this. And so when they're in a scene where one of them die or something emotional happens, we aren't meant to care. Like, we're meant to care, but we don't care, because they did nothing to make us care throughout the course of the story. So, as I said, this story had a lot of potential, but because it doesn't take itself seriously, and because you're given an androgynous character, it brings it down a lot. If they actually explored a lot of these characters more, if they gave Danny more development, if they gave Castillo more development, this could have been a really strong story. And it just makes me sad that it isn't, because they were too lazy. As I said, the gameplay itself is good. I don't need to go over why that's good again. I think it works extremely well as a co-op game. I deeply enjoyed playing this game with one of my friends. We got a lot of hours out of it, and I'm probably going to start another playthrough with my other friend. As a solo game, though, it's pretty repetitive and boring. I wouldn't want to play through this game solo. It's fun to do some missions by yourself, like some operations, maybe some military target, but overall it's pretty surface level to play by yourself, and I wouldn't recommend it for that. But it is a good co-op option. And it's obvious that some missions are meant to be co-op. I've tried to take out military bases by myself before, and it's hard as dick. Like, I've successfully done 2, I think, and those were really hard. I almost successfully did another one today, but my RPGs don't work, so whatever. And so I think that's another issue with it. Like, there are some missions in this game that are clearly meant to have 2 people, and are, like, really hard if you don't. So, for that, I would say it's a good co-op game, but not really good solo game. Because it's repetitive, it doesn't have a whole lot of depth, and the missions can be really hard if you only have one person. But if you have a friend with you, it could be a nice opportunity to just turn off your brain and kill some people for a couple hours and have some fun that way. Overall, I don't think this is a great game. I don't think it's a game that I would necessarily recommend if you're looking for a good RPG. But if you're just looking to have some fun with your friends, it's a nice option. Alright, guys, I think that's about all I have for today. There's really nothing else I could think of that I want to mention about this game right now. As I said, it's pretty surface level. I might make a more in-depth review at a later point, but as of right now, this is the most I got for you. I'm probably going to make that Assassin's Creed combat ranking video. I don't know when, but I will. School's going to start back up in 5 days. So after that, my video production's going to probably be just as slow, if not slower than it is already. I'll still release shorts from time to time, but other than that, there's not really going to be much of anything that I feel I need to talk about. But other than that, that's just about all I got, guys. Have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next one.